शुरू भी।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदामग्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, we will just quickly run through. So we are running through Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, chapter number 6. So how does the connection from fifth chapter goes? In fifth chapter, Krishna explains both sannyasa and karma yoga, which means renunciation at work and as well as action in devotion, okay, which will lead to liberation. But Krishna confirms that karma yoga is better than that, okay. And then at the end of that particular chapter, if you see 5.27 to 28, Krishna concludes that yes, there is a way called as the Ashtanga Yoga by which you're able to do, which means controlling the senses, controlling the mind, controlling this one, and then performance of the yoga process, which means that is also kind of an action that will lead to liberation, that will lead to merge with the supreme. Okay, so that is where Krishna concludes. And sixth chapter is a direct continuation, elaborating how that particular dhyana yoga is done. Okay, so we saw in the last class mainly about Aruruksha and Aruda. Okay, so for a big, Krishna himself says for a beginner, mechanical work is the means, which means when for a person who is in the initial stages of bhakti, initial stages of controlling the mind, so he has to do some kind of mechanical work, which means keep on doing certain things, and afterwards it will become a habit, and he or she will be very much um, expert. He will become a nipunaha. That is what Krishna says. And but after some time, for an advanced yogi, just have to cessation of all material work and peaceful meditation. That is what is recommended by Krishna. And in the last class, Pandu Prabhu was asking, how do we differentiate this? Which means what, action or inaction? So which means after many years, one has to cessation of the regular work also is very important. Then only this, for example, yesterday we were cessation of all our regular activities and we were trying to do more focus on our sadhana, whatever be it, either chanting, reading, whatever be it, right? So that is what is was Krishna is recommending, either be from a grahastha ashrama or from a sannyasi or vanaprastha ashrama. So Krishna in this chapter he will specifically talk about somebody who is going into the forest and doing a meditation, which means he would have completed all his normal day-to-day activities in the material world. And at some point by the time he gets tired, he gets frustrated, he gets enough, let me go do that, right? But Prabhupada in the purport, he's specifically bringing out that no, when we try to follow our Krishna conscious way, then that itself is more than sufficient in terms of renunciation, in terms of detachment, in terms of concentrating, in terms of the output of the Ashtanga Yoga. The output of Ashtanga is mind control. Output of Ashtanga is samadhi. Right? When you follow the yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, all those things will automatically get fulfilled when we are fully in Krishna consciousness. Means all our activities are done. Okay. So in the last sloka, Krishna brings out a very important concept of the mind. Okay, the mind as a friend or the enemy. In today's section, phase 2, we will see from 10th sloka to 70th sloka, what is it and how is a perfect dhyana yogi is performed. After that, Krishna will talk very elaborately about mind control, okay, and the perfection that is required. And then Arjuna will again, in the phase 4, Arjuna will talk about his confession that he is not able to control the mind, what to do and all, and Krishna will give specific insights. And Prabhupada, as I mentioned in the previous class also, Prabhupada will bring an impracticability, impractic, practicality of the Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, in the purport, if you see, he will just simply say, just focus on the normal day-to-day activities of Krishna consciousness. Okay? So that is where it is very important. And Prabhupada mentions importantly about Paramatma realization. Okay, so we'll continue with that. And finally, Krishna will conclude Yoginam api sarvesham mad gedan. This is the ultimate sloka that will conclude that you should become a yogi. Okay. So following from a karma, jnana, ashtanga, everything, you should become a yogi. That is what Krishna wants. So a devotee is automatically a yogi. A devotee is automatically following karma, following the ashtanga yoga process. Okay. So let us continue. So we saw in the last class this how do we understand this the eightfold principles starting from yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. Okay, this process also we saw. And bandhur atmanastasya enatma. So the bandhur, this mind is both the friend as well as the enemy. So all depends upon how do we utilize how do we ensure our mind is not getting deviated. Okay, from today we will focus on this section from how to do a perfect yoga. Okay, typically a dhyana yoga perspective. Okay, so far clear. We can go to the sloka number. We finished till 7th sloka, correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah, please read 8th sloka. Anybody?
तृप्तात्मा भूतस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इति उच्यते योगी समलोस्त्रास्मकाञ्चनम्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Purport. Book knowledge without realization of supreme truth useless. This is stated as follows. Ataga Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavid grahyam indriyai evon muktehi jivadav swayam eva surati ataga. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord or the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of Lord revealed to him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. This Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his conviction, but by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. It is the realized soul who is actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with the mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and the mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles and or stones. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, brother. So we can understand this from the lessons or from the life lessons from the Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. They didn't bother. We all know the story of that Chintamani stone, also the things, right? When during that point of time, when there was one big Digvijay Pandit who came, and then he was trying to argue and everything, and then the story goes where Baladev Vidyabhushan and there was one more wonderful devotee, this the third generation from Srila Prabhupada, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So this is third generation after the six Goswamis. We have Baladev Vidyabhushan and then Narottam Das Thakur and so many others. Okay, so during that point of time, there was one very big Digvijay Pandit. He wanted to establish. He will keep on going and having some logical arguments to establish certain philosophical principles and all. So at that point of time, they said it is just a time waste just to keep arguing. What do you want? It is like you have to say, okay, you are the winner. Okay, I am the loser. That's okay. So he will just simply write, okay, I am accepting my defeat and give it. Okay. This Ramachandra Kaviraj also was there. So after that point of time, the Digvijay Pandit, yes, see, I've already won like that. But then later Ramachandra Kaviraj and few others will go back and then do a particular debate and argument and then win over him. Okay. And then Baldevi, everybody will just chastise and say, you are just wasted your time. Okay. For certain needs only we have to go and have a conversation or a discussion. But for a mundane scholarship and mental speculator philosophers, we don't have to sit and argue and then show them or demonstrate or have to prove them. Okay, if somebody wants to have that themselves as the winner, let it be. Okay, so like that he will just give it up. So that is what is Krishna is trying to bring, and Prabhupada also bringing up from a purport perspective. So in this particular sections, like how a devotee is there, similarly, the performance of a dhyana yogi or a performance who has got complete knowledge. Jnana, Vijnana, Triptatma. Jnanam we know, Vijnana means the practical knowledge or the realized knowledge. Triptatma, who will be satisfied. Okay, so he has already Viji Indriya. So he has already won over his centers, I mean senses. Okay, and Yukta hi Uchyate yogi. So he is a Uchyate yogi. He is a topmost yogi, and that particular yogi is equipoised. Okay, he will be never get this one. So from this section, Krishna will talk about like how we saw in the second chapter and third chapter and all. A person in good Krishna consciousness, a person in Sthita Dhir. In second chapter, we saw a full section about Dhiras Tatrana Mugati, that Dhira, that Sthita Dhir person, what he will do, what he will do. So like that, there was one section, right? Same way here also, a person who is in perfect control of his senses, perfect focusing on his mind, he will never get agitated. So Krishna, when he wants to give a message about what needs to be done, he will also give the benefit of what is the done, and he will refer that as an important point. What is the how he has to behave, and then what is the benefit out of it. Okay, so Krishna will package it in that way. He'll give the message, okay, this is important, this you have to do, and then how to do is the second aspect. Third, what is the benefit out of it? Sometimes he will say a reference also. Janaka Maharaj did like great rishis and munis also followed it and then they won it. It is my opinion. So like that he will give some external reference also. Or he will simply say, he will take some annotation, some analogy and say, if you do this, this is how it is being brought out. So in a way, how a message is beautifully packaged or kind of articulated by Krishna is also very important. So he will just simply give a message. He will add points to the message to validate or to make sure that it is properly understood. Third is what is the benefit out of it? Either it is Prashanta Madhigachiti, Shanti Madhigachiti, or Triptatma, he will be satisfied, or whatever be the benefit out of particular understanding, particular knowledge is also brought out. Okay. So such a person is in transcendence and self-control. He sees everything, whether it is pebbles or stones or all the same. Okay. So Adha Sri Krishna Namati Nabhave Dugrikyam Indriya Sevan Mukhe Jigvahu Swayam Heva Spridite. So whatever be the Lord's form, name, qualities, everything, it has to be understood through a transcendental way, which means not through any kind of a mundane scholarship understanding. Okay, so they have to undergo the process, then they will be able to understand. Okay, this is from Bhakti Rasa, Nectar of Devotion. It is there. Prabhupada mentioned nicely. This is Bhagavad Gita, Science of Krishna Consciousness. One must be fortunate enough to associate with the person who is a pure. So just by reading Bhagavad Gita, they will never get to understand who is Krishna or the position of Krishna or what the message of Krishna is. But if they are able to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness, then he will be able to get that. So knowledge and realization is very important. That is why jnana, many of the slokas he will add this jnana vijnana. Okay? It is not just simply jnana. Okay? And then for devotees, he will add karma also. Jnana, karma, sanya. So which means we have to perform action, practice, get the knowledge, and have the realized knowledge also. So all packaged together is a perfect devotion. Okay, let us go. So how does he do? Okay, yeah, next one. Mataji, anybody? Sloka number 9. So
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
hmm.
श्रुहन् मित्र सॉरी श्रुहन् मित्रार्य उदासीना मध्यस्थदेवस्य बन्धुषु साधुस्व अपि च पापेषु समाबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते. Synonyms: Shuhrat, to well-wisher by nature; Mitra, benefactors with affection; Ari, enemies; Udasina, neutrals between a belligerents; Madhyastha, meditators between belligerents; Devasya, the envious; Bandhusu, and the relatives or a well-wisher; Sadhushu, onto the pious; Api, as well as; Cha, and Papeshu, onto the sinner. Samabuddhi, having equal intelligence. Vivishyate, is far advanced. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wisher, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious, friend and enemies, the pious and the sinner, all with an equal mind. Hare Krishna. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mataji. So Prabhupada here in the synonym, well-wishers by nature. Suhritam sarvabhutanam nati mohanti muchyate. So Krishna by nature, Krishna is Suhritam. Krishna is by nature, he is eternal well-wisher. Prabhupada always write, no, you are eternal well-wisher. So Suhritam means he is well-wisher for anybody and everybody, irrespective of their material body. It can be a small ant to a big dinosaur to human beings. He is an eternal well-wisher. Okay, so that is why Prabhupada mentions Suhrit by well-wisher by nature. By nature itself, they'll have that compassion, that karunyam, that mercy, and then Mitra, very affectionate. Okay, for what? Ari Udasinam. So either for the good or the enemies also. So everything. In the purport, Prabhupada brings a very important line. When he regards honest well-wishers, well-wisher means itself is honest. Hopefully. But here he wants to emphasize that point. It is honest well wishes. From the heart, it should be there. It's not from the mouth. Okay. And then sometimes the honest well wisher will chastise you. Honest well wisher will scold you. Honest well wisher will be like, um, kind of a little harsh on you. But still, we need to see what is their inner understanding and then accept that. And we also have to be very honest well wisher. It's not that just, what do you say, from a mouth perspective or from a outer communication alone. We have to be more like that. Okay. So a person who is still considered further advanced when he goes, he is neutral for mediators, envious, friends, enemies, everything, pious, sinner, all. Whatever bandhu, dveshya, sadhu, papeshu, all. Whomsoever he will be in the category. So who is a yogi? So this section will talk about who is a yogi. So yogi means he's established in self-realization. He's acquired good knowledge. He'll not have any differentiation between gold and small pebble or anything. He'll be common. He'll be across everybody. Okay. The same thing will come in all chapters also. The same kind of qualities are brought. So Krishna wants Arjuna to understand an important understanding of getting the qualities of a person. So Prabhupada will make that as the qualities that is required from a Krishna conscious devotee perspective. Okay. So either it is in the Dhyana Yoga section or in the Karma Yoga section or in the Jnana. So in the 4th chapter, we saw all about Jnani, right? A full section about who will be the Jnani. He will get liberated, he will get this, Jnani is this. So like that, there will be a section for talking about the Jnani. Okay. Jnanam is the concept and Jnani is the person who practices or gets that knowledge. Same way, dhyanam is a concept or a knowledge, and who following is a dhyani or a yogi, and then what is the benefit? So, like that, we need to see how Krishna packages it. Same way in the 2nd chapter also, the person Siddha Dhir Muni. So that Siddha Dhir, the Dhira person also will be in the same kind of a category. Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One question can I ask?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this dhyana means knowledge and karma means your activity. So if you're if you're practicing the nishkarma, is that not same as knowledge, or will that not lead
Nish, no,
to this?
Sakama, no, Prabhu. Sakama Karma Yoga is with sense gratification. Nishkama Karma Yoga is I don't have that much of what do you say? I don't have a much attachment. I don't have sense gratification, but I'm still not detached. Still, I'm not fully surrendered. I don't have the desire, but still, I'm just giving it for the sake of not having that full understanding and attachment. So that is it is okay, but not with the full knowledge. What is that full knowledge? Full knowledge is not only surrender and this one, but accepting the position of the Supreme Lord and giving it to Him is the next level. Okay, Nishkama is just I'm just doing for the sake of most of the our social welfare organizations, whomsoever doing it, all Nishkama Karma. Well, they just simply for the sake of doing it, they will do it, which is okay. But actually, you have to give it to the right person. We have to give it to the right source, give it to the right proprietor or right owner. That will become the next level. Okay. The difference between a devotee and a Nishkama Yoga is after sometimes a Nishkama Karma Yogi might have a potential way of falling down because he'll get little pride. Okay. Because he has not understood the real proprietor or owner of it. He'll just, okay, I have been told to do this. I'm not having this one. I'm sense controlled. My sense gratification is completely not affecting me. I'm just doing this. That's all.
So Nishkama Karma Yoga must be supplemented by Dhyana Yoga for final spiritual realization.
Yes, correct.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So it is karma, jnana, dhyana, and then bhakti. So which means all will go in one parallel. So in that way we cannot try to understand. So Dhyana Yoga's goal is like I've renounced everything. There is no attachments. There is no sense gratification. I am focusing my mind on mind and intelligence, and all my actions are kind of this one. Okay. Yeah. Any Matajis?
6.10 योगी युञ्जेत सततम् आत्मानां रहसि स्थितः एकाकी यतचित्तात्मा निराशीरपरिग्रहः. Synonyms: Yogi, a transcendentalist. Yunjita, must concentrate in Krishna consciousness. Satatam, constantly. Atmanam, himself, by body, mind and self. Rahasi, in a secluded place. Sthitaha, being situated. Ekaki, alone. Yat chitatma, always careful in mind. Nirashihi, without being attracted by anything else. Aparigrahaha, free from feeling of possessiveness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from the desires and feelings of possessiveness. Purport: Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. Krishna consciousness means concisely to be always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman or the localized super soul are also partially Krishna conscious, because the impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna and the supersoul is the all-pervading partial expansion of Krishna. Thus, the impersonalist and the meditator are also indirectly Krishna conscious. A directly Krishna conscious person is topmost transcendentalist because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahman and Paramatma. His knowledge of absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and the meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits, so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of transcendentalists is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in the secluded and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realization. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feeling of possessiveness. All these perfections and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self abnegation, wherein there is very light chance for material possessiveness. Srila Rupa Goswami characterizes Krishna consciousness in this way. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharam upayunjataha nirabandhaha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate parapanchi taya buddhya हरि संबंधी वस्तुनः मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो वैराग्यं फाल्गु कथयते. When one is not attached to anything, but at same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.255 to 256. A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental, and he is always alone, having nothing to do with persons not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness is the perfect yogi. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. So the purport has got two parts. Second part is what Prabhupada will talk about all the perfections and precautions. Very beautiful line. All these perfections and precautions. So the previous section is about how to become perfect and what kind of precautions somebody has to do for a dhyana yoga. And Prabhupada beautifully brings out that direct Krishna consciousness is very important, and he quotes Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This sloka is also very Nirbandha Krishna Samde Yukta Vairagyam. So this entire chapter is about Yukta Vairagyam. Like how do we improve on our vairagyam, our determination? Okay, so in that Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha, Vastu means all objects, any material things, it should be Hari Sambandham. Okay, that is one. Parityaga, so all others we'll have to give it out. Vairagyam Falgu Katyate. So that there are two types of Vairagya. Okay, one is called as Falgu Vairagya and Nija Vairagya or Yukta Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya is, Falgu means this Falgu river is there. No? Like that, there is a Falgu means it is called as Markata Vairagya or Falgu Vairagya, which means false renunciation. Oh, I don't want, but internally a lot of craving is there, is called as Falgu Vairagya or Markata Vairagya. Okay, but Yukta Vairagya or Nija Vairagya is with lot of determination. So Prabhupada brings that everything should be on Krishna consciousness. But here from the first section, Prabhupada brings an important aspect of how to control the mind, and then what Krishna is giving the message, he has to go and live in a secluded place. So practically, is it possible? Not possible. And control his mind, and he has to focus on the Paramatma inside. Right? So that's what Prabhupada is also bringing. Thus, the impersonalists and the mediator are also indirectly relational. So Prabhupada is very, very compassionate and well. So Prabhupada is saying everybody are Krishna conscious. Only thing is the degree of Krishna consciousness and the velocity or the quality of Krishna consciousness might vary from a degree from a person to person. Indirectly, everybody is Krishna conscious is dormant in their heart. Okay, so Prabhupada is making this point. So in some sloka, Prabhupada will say this, you are not supposed to follow this, that, and all. But here he is making it very beautifully that now everybody are Krishna conscious. Only thing is they don't know. That's all. Because they are in the state of complete ignorance. But who is knowing everything, he will follow a different aspect. That's all. So that's why Prabhupada is making the impersonalists and the meditative yoga are imperfectly Krishna conscious. So that is where this line having the perfection and precaution. So these two will go hand in hand in Krishna consciousness. We have to be very cautious. We have to take some precautionary steps. In the next section, he'll talk about Yukta Vairagya. He'll talk about Yukta Ahara Viharasya. So in that, he will simply say, you need recreation also. Whether we have to go to vacation, we have to go to this country and all. It will ask, hey, no, I will not do it. No, it is not like that. We have to follow certain some recreatory aspects, but we have to be very precautious in what we are trying to do. Okay, that is where that word precaution is important. Precaution means certain you perform certain actions to avoid certain bad things that is coming, right? So precautionary steps that we try to do so that we are ring fenced, and that will make us more perfect. Okay. Means self-abnegation. Very nice word. So because direct Krishna conscious means self-abnegation. So he will never have that mentality of everything is belonging to me. Okay. So that material possession also will be on a very, very lower scale. So this accept everything in favor and they reject everything in favor. So anukulyam, and what is the opposite of anukulyam? Pratikulya. Okay, let us go to the 12th, 11th and 12th. Please read. So first in this 10th sloka is about he has to be in a lonely, secluded place. Rahasya means what? In a very secret location. Stitaha ekaki. So atmanam rahasya stita ekaki. Yet chitta. Okay. So he should be in a secluded place. He should be situated in ekaki. He should be alone. Yata chitta. Okay. Careful in mind. And nirashrihi. So without being attracted. Aparigraha. Okay. So now he will talk about how it has to be, the dhyana yoga has to be perfectly executed or perfectly done. Yeah, please read.
शुचौ देशे प्रतिस्थाप्य स्थिरम् आसनम् आत्मनः नाति उच्छ्रितं नाति नीचं कैलाजिना कुशोत्तरम् तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यथा चित्तेन्द्रिया क्रिया उपाविश्यास्ने युञ्जयाद् योगम् आत्मा विशुद्धये. Synonyms: Shuchau, in a sanctified. Deshe, land. Pratisthapya, placing. Sthiram, firm. Asanam, seat. Atmana, his own. Na, not. Ati, too. Uchritam, high. Na, nor. Ati, too. Nicham, low. Chaila ajina, of soft cloth and deer skin. Kusha, the kusha grass. Uttaram, covering. Tatra, thereupon. Ekagram, with one's attention. Mana, mind. Kritva, making. Yata chitta, controlling the mind. Indriya, senses. Kriya and activities. Upavishya, sitting. Asane, on the seat. Yunjayat, should execute. Yogam, yoga practice. Atma, the heart. Vishuddhaye, for clarifying. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground, then cover it with deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low, and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Purport: sacred place refers to a place of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists or devotees, all leave home and reside in sacred places like Prayaga, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Haridwar, and in solitude practice yoga where the sacred rivers like the Yamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for actual practice of yoga. One who is self controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Brihan Naradiya Puran, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present Yuga or age, when people in general are short lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare, Hare Nama, Harer Nama, Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Gatir Anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. We can take up actually 13, 14 also. But okay, let's quickly read through this one. So if you read through the purport is not very specifically talking about what, how, and all. He's spoken. His mission is somebody should understand this is not possible, and only through Harinama, like chanting of the holy name, it is possible. Okay, that is the message he wants to give. But at the same time, he wants to make that this was there, the sacred places, and he's not very technically giving all these specific details because he knows that all these, for example, nati uttishtam, nati necham, na chelaknaham. So all these specific points and all, he's not worried. He's not even bothered about it because it's not at all practically possible. It is impossible kind of a thing. Okay. So in the translation, he just makes it, but in the purport, he just talks something about the pilgrimage place. That's it. Okay. So his point of view is very clear that as per Brihat Narada Purana, this is impossible, impractical, and we just have to do Harinam Kirtan. So, but in the translation, we say he's talking about Krishna is giving a very technical details about Pusha grass. So Pusha grass, we all know it is even during Grahanam period, even during the no moon or the specific eclipse period and all, we do use the Kusha grass because Kusha grass is considered not only auspicious from a scientific reason also it will reflect or it will ensure the rays are not getting affected. So the grass by itself is so powerful in a way. Scientifically, it will restrict the power of that particular eclipse coming into or affecting the body. That is why Kusa grass is used in all great yajnas or whatever be it. Kusa grass is considered as a important aspect of it. One. Number two, he's talking about Nati Uchishtam, Nati Nicham. So not very high. It's not, you don't have to, from a Dhyana yoga, you don't have to sit in a big Simhasan and do a yoga, or just not on the very bare ground floor. It has to be in some standard sitting position, and you have to have a soft cloth. Chaila Agiha. Chaila means soft cloth. And not very cushion and all, because it will give a lot of more comfort to the body and then it will not be able to focus. So natural. And this deer or tiger skin. Okay, why the tiger skin or deer skin? Usually when you put it, small ant and all those other small living entities will not come because by the skin it will know that okay, we are not supposed to come to that particular place, so it will be restricted. That is one. Okay, so like that he has to sit, a yogi who want to perform dhyana yoga, and then what he has to do, he has to do eka agraham. So he has to attentively focus mana kritva yat chitta. So he has to focus his mind, indriya, kriya, everything sitting there and sitting in a firm position and start practicing yoga. But what is a perfect Atma Vishuddhaya? The real purpose of performance of this yoga is cleansing of the heart. Not just, I'm going to become a great yogi and all. The purpose of all this performance of Dhyana Yoga is what? Cleanse of, which means heart is completely Vishuddha. Heart is not in the Shuddha state. Heart is in a very contaminated or kalmasham, or in the impurified state. So performance of all these yoga is for what purpose? Is to cleanse the heart. And that we are very easily trying to do through our chanting. Okay. So let us finish this sloka also. We'll talk about what is the sitting posture. So in the previous sloka, he told he has to sit in a secluded place. He has to do this. But now he will talk specifically about how to do it also. Okay. Yeah. Mataji, anybody? Samam Kaya Siro Grivam, should I call?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Mataji.
Samam kaya shiro grivam धारयन् अचलं स्थिरा सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वां दिशश्चानवलोकयान् प्रस्थानात्मा विगतधीर ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Purport. The goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu, and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this, Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy written by the great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarvasthasu sarvada sarvatra maithuna tyago brahmacharyam prachakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind, at all times, under all circumstances, and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood, when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to the Gurukul or place of spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict disciplines of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools do not even admit householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the Bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasoapiyasya param drishtva nivartate. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. Vigata bihi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam 11.2.37 says, Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshatah syadeshad apetsya viparyayo smritihi. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so-called yoga societies. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, very nice. These two slokas, very specifically, some specific points. So in the previous sloka, Krishna is talking about sitting in a secluded place, sitting in a firm position, how he has to do. This sloka is talking about little more detailed into that, how his sitting position should be, his asana, his head, his neck, his body, and focus. Like no, it is not fully, the eyes is not fully closed or fully open. It will be like kind of minutely, partially open. So that fully closed means high chances of sleeping. Fully open means high chances of mind getting completely diverted. So when he closes partially, he has to see the tip of his nose. Not see, actually stare at the like, tip of the nose. When you try to close half of your eyes, you should be able to see your tip of the nose. Okay. And then mind is Nasikagramam Swam Dishaha, that also, you know. So Prashanta Manaha Atmanaha. So Prashanta Atmanaha means unagitated mind, unagitated Vigata Bhi, devoid of fear. So you should not be fearful also. So person in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada emphasizing that very important point, that fearlessness should be a part of the activities that a Krishna conscious person is doing. So you'll automatically be not worried about whatever pain. And Brahmachari Vratam. So this purport also Prabhupada brings. So it applies to all, to both, either to the male bodies or female bodies. Both applies. So Krishna Prabhupada is emphasizing a very important point. Abstaining from indulgence in this maithuna. Maithuna means in the sexual life is very, very important, because that will only give the or control the energy. Okay, the main important aspect of maithuna, controlling the maithuna, is the energy portion will be focused and controlled within the body, because when you sit and perform certain actions, you need energy. Okay, so when you sit and do meditation also, you might think, oh, no action, but actually internally lot of energy is required. And how do we get that energy? That energy is brought through self-control, because when the energy, when you undergo maithuna, when you undergo this sexual this one, lot of energy is getting wasted either in the male body or in the female body. Okay, so controlling the senses, controlling the mind, controlling the bodily needs. Okay, so that is also very, very important, so that it becomes very, very clear, so that it becomes very useful. Okay, and then lastly, very important, Machitta Madgada Prana Bodhayantapa. Same thing Krishna is making here. Machitta Yukta Asita Matparaha. Okay, the last line is very nice. Machitta means concentrating. The chitta means, you know. Okay. Oh, so concentrating the mind and intelligence on who? Matparaha. Who is that? That supreme goal. Who is that? Supreme Bhagavan. And that should be the Yukta Asita. So that should be a Yukta Vairagi, the person who is always in the pursuit of perfection, what he will do, he will be focusing his mind on that Matparaha, that supreme goal, who is that Krishna. So that he is also making that point very subtly here. You have to do these things, but you have to concentrate upon me. So even in one sense, whatever Dhyana Yoga portion is also kind of leading towards Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So that is what is the understanding that we should get. So even either it is a Karma Yoga portion or in the Jnana Yoga portion or in the Dhyana Yoga portion, the leading point or the perfection leads towards Machita, okay, to that supreme goal. That is why Krishna in every chapter, he will bring this point and then conclude in the 9th chapter and 12th chapter about importance of devotion service. Session. Okay, we'll take a small break. We'll come back at 9:45. Okay, and then just conclude this sloka. We'll take a small break and then come back. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi niyata manasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samastam adhigachyat. Okay, Hare Krishna. We'll take a small break. Any questions, clarifications on this 13, 14, 11, and 12? 12, 13, 14.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, just you said about that kusha grass, it has got the properties of, that is 11 and 12, 6, 11 and 12, you're talking about the kusha grass. A person who is doing Krishna consciousness, whether he is on only on Brahman stage or the Paramatma or the Bhagwan state, fully realized, do they require to do any of these rituals, or being in Krishna consciousness is sufficient?
It is not required, Prabhu. It is not at all required. But still, from a social obligatory requirement, it is for the benefit of higher order, for the higher social welfare. If it is required, then it can be performed. No issues at all. But individually, if you ask somebody who wants to do it, it is not required. So that is where Prabhupada makes it very clear. For a sadhana bhakti, for somebody who is practicing bhakti, he can do his sadhana, he can do his regular chanting, he can do his seva, devotion service, and he can continue to do deity worship. That is more than enough. However, if it comes from a social per se requirement where everybody has to be accommodated, to be have everything, absolutely fine. Do whatever that is required.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, the posture which is explained in the 13 and 14. So is that posture also recommended for chanting, or is it only
Yes,
for
absolutely. Earlier, my Guru Maharaj used to sit and chant in Vajrasan. Earlier days, not now, but I mean, not in the recent years, but I know many years back, he also recommended he will wake up at 3:30 and then till 4:35 he will sit in Vajrasan. And then the brahmacharis also, even in big temples, I know in Delhi temple, other temples also, they give this practice of performance sitting in one position. That is why we go to Mayapur, they will sit in front of Tulsi Maharani in Padmasan and try to do, or in Vajrasan also. If you are able to do, that is the perfect thing. But if you are not able to do also, no issues. All that we have to do is how we are able to focus. So that the external, the main point is the yama, niyama, the external things don't get affected for us. That's all.
Okay, Prabhuji. But this eyes thing is very difficult. I mean, I tried it once, but it puts a lot of pressure.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It might look very easy. That is why the energy should be controlled. Energy should not get wasted. So eyes also is very difficult, very difficult. Sometimes we will sleep, sometimes we will be opening eyes too much that so much of things will come in our mind, because eyes are the direct recipients of Vishaya. Direct recipients of Vishaya means the first thing they will be attracted just by seeing this and that. So that is why when you try to do chanting, even in Nama Abbas or Nama Aparaj stage, just have some lot of photos and lot of things, at least go here and there. Just by seeing, at least we're able to control and take a particular route. Let's say you're going for walking and chanting. Let's say you're sitting in it. So practice that in a particular location itself every time. So that the habit becomes, for example, I sit in one particular room itself. So that room is always accustomed, that place is always accustomed. And then my mind, this will not get that much of this one. So even if I go for a walking, I'll go same place. Everybody will say, why you're going the same thing, but that is what is recommended, so that at least we are not disturbed with external influences.
Okay, Prabhuji. And one minor point, Prabhuji, maybe not that important, but the deer skin that is mentioned. So, what our understanding should be from the mentioning of the deer skin is that it doesn't encourage the killing. Is it like just, whatever animal is dead, just use the skin of that animal?
Yes, yes. Ideally, it's not that you have to kill an animal and take that body. You get the deer skin or a tiger skin, which is okay, and that is for protection. Letting know all other small ants and things that will not come. So that is the understanding.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Bhaji. Is it closing the eye and doing chanting is the Nam Abbas? How to?
No, Navabhas is a definition in which it is like it is like you are halfway through where you are able to control partially, you're able to control senses, focus everything. You're not Nama Aparat. At least your chanting is okay, but still not got to the level of Shuddhanam. So it can be, it is in the middle stage. So when you try to perform your chanting regularly, your mind is almost concentrating on the Lord. You're not getting deviated. You're able to do your own prashantanga. If you are happily, joyfully performing, that is all in the nama abhas stage. Then later when it comes into Shuddhanam, it will become much more. So closing eyes can be either in all three also. That is okay. But it depends upon how do you understand.
Okay. Yes.
No, Prabhu, one small clarification, Prabhu. When we do the chanting, Srila Prabhupada was saying chant and hear. When we doing hearing also, we need to meditate on, in some sloga, we need to meditate on a Virat form of Krishna. It was mentioned. Here it is saying so we need to meditate on the 400 form of Vishnumurti, Prabhu.
Yeah, this is Dhyana Yoga. The context here is Dhyana Yoga, which means he is not talking about chanting. It is about not opening the mouth itself. This is eyes closed, mouth also closed, but just keep concentrating on the Paramatma inside. Okay, this is Dhyana Yoga perspective. Okay.
Okay, so it's
But
not.
in chanting, we have to open our mouth, open our mind, and also when we start Hare Krishna mantra, as I mentioned, Harinam Chintamani describes that during the Nama Aparan stage, just to control the mind, you can always think about the Lord's pastimes, Lord's form also. Whichever form you like Shamasundara form, you like Virata form, you like Narsimha form, you like Rama form, you like Pandaripur form, whatever form, that is all okay. No issues at all. So that at least it will at least control our mind to not get agitated into something else. Or if you feel like you want to think about his pastimes, that is also okay. Or if you want to think about Vrindavan locations, either Puri, Vrindavan, Mathura, Ram, Ayodhya, Srirangam, whatever you feel like, that place will give you a little more concentration, that is also okay. So all those things are all in the stage where it will keep progressing little later. So when you hear Hare Krishna, the word Krishna and Hare and Rama should go into your ears. That's all.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
As you progress much more, even you will not even get the time to think about the form of the Lord or the places of the Lord. You'll be so concentrated on hearing the chanting that mind will be focusing only to I am just hearing Krishna's name. That's all. So then that will become Shuddhana.
Oh, okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. Fine. Okay, let's take a small break, come back. Maybe 9:50 we'll come back. Okay, let us continue.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu. 1 minute. Yeah, Prabhu. युञ्जान एवं सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः शान्तनिं निर्वाणा परमां मत संस्थानम अधिगच्छति. Synonyms: Yujyan, practicing, Evam, as mentioned, Sada, constantly, Atmanam, the mind, body, and soul, Yogi, the mystic transcendentalist, the Niyata Manasaha, with a regulated mind, Shantanim, peace, Nirvana Paramam, cessation of material existence, Mat Samasthan, the spiritual sky, the kingdom of God, Adhigachati, does attain. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attain to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of the material existence. Purport. The ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Yoga practice is not meant for attain any kind of material facility. Uh, it is to enable the cessation of the material existence, of all material existence. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspire after material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. Nor does cessation of material existence entail to one entering into the void, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere with the creation of the Lord. Rather, the cessation of the material existence enables one to enter into spiritual sky, to adopt to the Lord. The adopt of the Lord is also clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita as at the place where there is no need of sun, moon, or electricity. All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated like the sun in the material sky. The kingdom of God is everywhere, but the spiritual sky and planet, therefore, are called Param Dham or spiritual adopts. Uh, a consummate yogi who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna is clearly stated herein by Lord Himself. Mat Chita, Mat Para, Mat Sthanam, Mat Sanam, can attain the real peace and ultimately reach his supreme abode, Krishna Loka, known as Goloka Vrindavan. In the Brahma Samhita 5.37, it is clearly stated, Goloka eva nivaste akhila mata bhutah akhila atmana bhutah. The Lord, although residing always in his abode called Goloka, is all pervading Brahman and localized Paramatma, as well as by dint in his superior spirituality energies. No one can reach the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha, or enter into Lord's eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, without proper understanding of Krishna in his plenary expansion of Vishnu. Therefore, the person working as Krishna consciousness is perfect yogi because in his mind is always absorbed in Krishna activities. Save mana Krishna parpa prada vinodah. In the Vedas also, Savestvara Upanishad 3.8, we learn a tam eva vidhivati mrityum iti. No one can overcome the path of birth and death only by understanding the supreme personality of the Godhead Krishna. In other words, perfection of the yoga system is the attainment of freedom from material existence and not some magical geology and gymnastic facts to befool innocent people. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Continuing the same principle concept, thus practicing constant control, very nice. Sada Sada Atmanam Yogi. So it is like constant control. It is not that Sada Bad Bhava Bhavitaha. Sada means always, right? And always Niyata Manasaha Shanti Nirvinna Paramam Mat Samastam Adhikachiti. So Prabhupada bringing that Machitta Madvira, same thing. Machitta Matvaraha Mastanam. So ultimate goal of Dhyana Yoga is what? To attain that supreme kingdom or to merge with the supreme Lord, right? So when somebody is performing Dhyana Yoga, they should know that it is even in Ashtanga Yoga also. Nowadays, all these great yoga societies, yoga clubs, and all is only for fit for life. They say fit for life means maintenance of the body, and then so that they are fit and happy, and then they gives a lot of flexibility to do whatever they want, and then it also gives them little pride also. So that is all more from materialist perspective. But actually, from a yoga perspective, performance of yoga is to ultimately start meditating upon the Supreme Lord, and then go back to him. That is the ultimate Param Dhama, right? That is where Prabhupada Krishna also makes it very nicely. Shanti Nirvana Param Vat Samastam Adhigachati. So he will be able to get that Samastam. Samastam means here the location. In Samastanam, okay, in other languages is called as Samastanam. Samastanam means kingdom, right? So that Samastanam will be got only if they follow this. Evam Sadatmanam Yogi Niyata Manasaha. So Sada, every constantly, if he is able to do, he'll be able to get it. So Prabhupada bringing that point also very closely. So as usual, first paragraph will talk about what is the essence of the translation purport, and second portion he will talk about Krishna consciousness. Okay, that is very nicely he is bringing out. So this Natad Bhashyetu Suru na Shashanko na Pavaka Yatkatva Nivartita Taddama Paramam Mama. That Dhamma Param. That Dhamma is Param. That Dhamma is what? It is not illuminated by sun and moon and all. It is already illuminated by the Lord's potency itself, large energy itself, right? All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated. Okay, that is what is good. So the kingdom of God is everywhere, which means what? Whatever Lord has created, everything is Krishna's Lord's kingdom only. But whichever above, which is kind of param, which is like beyond the transcendence, beyond the material, is called the Parandhama. Okay, the Param place. That is a superior position. So our goal is to move away. This is also Krishna's kingdom, no doubt about it. But our goal is to move away from this 14 planetary systems and go from the Param position, that particular Param place. No one can reach the spiritual sky until we get a proper understanding of Krishna and his experience. Therefore, a person Krishna conscious is perfect yogi. His mind is always observing. Savemana Krishna Padara Vindayo Vasamsi Vaikunta Gunarna Varnane. So that is also very okay. Nice word. Not by some magical jugglery or gymnastic feats. So this is what Prabhupada is making. So it is not that okay, I'll try to do all kind of this yoga and this one. That is not perfection of yoga. Okay, let us read this translation. This is very important sloka, very important sloka, not only for our Krishna consciousness, but very importantly, how to maintain that. This 16 and 17, very important. Practically, how Krishna wants us to do Krishna consciousness, one way. Okay, yeah, we will read this. Any Mataji? Nobody is there?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, Mataji.
Nati asnastu yogasti na chaikantam anasnataha na chati swapna silasya jagrato naiva charjuna na never ati too much asnataha of one who eats too but yoga linking with the supreme asti there is na nor cha also ekantam overly anasnataha abstaining from eating na nor cha also ati too much swapna silasya of one who sleeps jagrataha, or one who keeps night watch too much. Na, not ever. Cha and Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation: there is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi. O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough, purport. Regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals because there is an ample of supply of grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to Bhagavad Gita. Animal foods is for those in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reactions because of eating only polluted things. Punjante te tva agam papa ye pachanti Atma Karanat. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sins. One who eats sins and eats more than is allotted to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It is best that one eat only the remnants of food offered to Krishna. A person in Krishna consciousness does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. Nor can one who artificially abstains from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. One who eats more than required will dream very much while sleeping, and he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. I think you can read this also. I want somebody to read the purport of 17 also, because this both will go hand in hand. Maybe Prabhuji can read, Pandav Prabhu, can you read the purport of 17th sloka? Yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasya karmasho yukta swapna bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So 16 and 17 always go together. So please read the translation purport also.
Okay, Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. He who is regulated in his habit of eating, sleeping, recitation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. But extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered according to the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milks, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness became automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or are not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duty in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avayartha kalatvam. The Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept in a minimum. His ideal is in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakura Haridasa would not even accept prasadam nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna consciousness person does not do anything which is not concerned with Krishna's interest, and thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material miseries for him. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. These two slokas can be understood in two perspectives. One is Krishna telling about how a yogi can become a perfect yogi in terms of performance of the dhyana yoga. So sitting in a particular position, his posture, his asana is everything good. He's focusing on his mind. He's doing dhyana yoga, and then he can get that perfection. The other way of seeing these two slokas is how do we also, from a Krishna conscious philosophy, Prabhupada bringing an important point of Prabhupada is making a point that you have to become a yogi. Krishna also making a point that everybody should become a yogi. So to become a yogi, Krishna is mentioning about Dhyana Yoga portion. And Prabhupada is bringing about how to get perfection in Krishna consciousness itself. Which means if somebody is eating too much or too little, sleeps too much or too little is also dangerous. Okay. And then what kind of food? So in the 17th chapter, in the 14th chapter, we are going to go very detailed about the three material modes, right? Whether in the Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna, whether it is eating or whatever be it, including sleep also. So that regulation is very important. That regulation alone is the only way by which we will be able to do our sadhana very thoroughly. Okay, that is very naicha. From a sloka perspective, na chati swapna silesya jagrato naiva charsuna. So even when it is sleeping, swapna silasya. Okay, swapna sila means one who is sleeping, right? Jagradha, one who keeps night watch or too much. So sometimes they will not sleep till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then try to wake up at 4 o'clock, or they will wake up only at 8 o'clock. So irregular habits will never be able to get. So that is the essence of these two slokas. Okay, and Prabhupada gives a lot of references about fasting, and then sometimes they will fast, sometimes they will not fast, sometimes. So all those things are also clearly clear. One should not sleep more than 6 hours. Practically, you say. So somebody will say 8 hours, but from a matured age perspective, between 20 to 60 or 20 to 50, 6 hours is more than enough. Okay, before 20 years it can be different because they are in the school, graduation, whatever be the study mode, that is all different. But after graduation they are already into the normal regular life, and then till about 50 or 55 or about 40 to 45 they have to follow this principle very thoroughly. Okay? So otherwise it will get influenced by the modes of ignorance. So he cannot perform yoga. Right? So even in this applies to even in normal material life. Somebody is performing yoga, dhyana yoga, they go and do some ashtanga yoga, right? The first foremost thing they'll talk about is control of all these things. Then only they'll be able to get that perfect posture or perfect bodybuilding exercises that try to do. This sloka is very nice. Yukta ahara viharasya. The word viharam is also viharasya means recreation. So Krishna is recommending that yes, eating, sleeping, and recreation is all. Recreation means some kind of a period in which you will feel like kind of relaxed, right? Either you go for a vacation or you take a break here, you take a break there, whatever be it. It's kind of, so even that also has to be regulated. Okay. So then only he'll be able to perform karmashu yukta swapna bodhavasya, same thing. Yukto bhavati yoga bhavati dukkha. So it will give, otherwise it will become a lot of pain. Avyakta kalatvam is also very important. So Avyakta kalatvam is one of the 6 principal characteristics of Uttama Bhakti. So in Uttama Bhakti, there are 6 primary characteristics that is mentioned, in which Avyakta kalatvam means you will never be able to have that position or thinking about not forgetting Krishna. That is very important. So that is at a higher, what is a higher principle or higher stage in their life. So Prabhupada is giving about Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur, all these persons, even in their sleep. Even Arjuna is considered a great personality because why Krishna chose Arjuna? Because even in sleep, Arjuna was always thinking about Krishna. His mouth will come out Krishna's name only, right? So that is where you can understand how great personalities through their practice. So when you say Nama Acharya Haridas, you know about out of 24 hours, he chants 22 hours. And the number of chanting rounds he do, even Rupa Goswami also. So great personalities are all drawn out for as an example, just to make a point that practice and perfection through certain principles. So when they follow through certain principles, definitely they will be able to. So in the principles, eating, sleeping, recreation, everything is kind of in a very regulated way. Even prasadam taking also, right? Even prasadam taking also, we should be regulated so that it is not affecting our regular sadhana. Becomes automatically trained not to accept food. So it becomes automatic training. That's why. Okay. See, Prabhupada also, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is considered as one of the best examples of Grahastha, where he was following his regulative principles. He was working in court magistrate, morning 10 a.m. to afternoon, and then evening 3 to 7. And then again, if you see his sadhana chart, he's so nice. So he will go to sleep by night 9:30. He will wake up around 12:30, 1 o'clock, then start writing all the wonderful granthas, all whatever song that we are listening today here. For example, when you sing Gaur Aarti, it is all from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So till morning 3:34, again he will write. Then he will go for a small slap. Then again morning he will wake up. He will perform his regular chanting, everything. So his life structure, his timetable is so structured. So it is not that no, only if I go from move away from my Grahastha ashrama, I will be able to do. No, not like that. Even in Grahastha ashrama, we should be able to perform our regular sadhana. Okay. Right. I think we'll stop here today and we'll continue with the next ones. Okay. Any questions, any doubts? So today's section we saw, yeah, Prabhu.
No, Prabhu, you finish first.
Yeah, in today's section we saw from chapter from 6 sloka number 10 or 7 to 8 till 17, we saw strictly outlines the principles of how to perform the dhyana yoga. Okay, the physical discipline and regulation. The regulation is what we saw, right? Regulative principles, and then the physical development, and then the environmental portion that is very important for us to perform our regular sadhana. The next section, after that, it will go from 18th onwards. Krishna will talk about, next class, we'll talk about mind control and the importance of mind control. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, when you say the highest pinnacle of the Ashtanga Yoga is Samadhi, when in Samadhi, can we say that the Gopas and the Gopis, the Arjun, and also Srimati Radharani, they were all in Samadhi because they were always thinking of Krishna?
Yes, they're already in Samadhi state only. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it because they're already in the Samadhi state. Only thing is, they will never be able to, nobody will be able to see them in the Samadhi state because they will be regularly doing, they'll be playing, they'll be doing all their activities, but they are already in the state of Samadhi.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, in this sloka, it is saying sleeping less also is not recommended.
Correct.
At least 6 hours of sleep is good. Any reason, Prabhu? And here also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says Raghunatha Das Goswami and Thakura Haridas, they are sleeping less. How to? So only advanced devotees can deviate from this, or only during the initial stage of our sadhana, we need to follow this, the sleep.
During the initial stage of sadhana, it is required for us to balance our physical requirements because we do all other activities also, and then our body parts also require rest, either our kidney or stomach or our lungs. Our body parts also require some rest. So that is why we do a sleep for 6 hours so that rest will rejuvenate our body and then becomes more good. Okay, that is the thing from a typical normal grahasthani. But as we progress, what will happen is the body will get tuned to it. Okay, I know many great devotees, like for example, Devaki Prabhu also, they will never get sleep more than 4 hours. Because I mean, my Guru also, by regular practice, what will happen? Two things will happen. One is you are restricting your mind control everything and you're sleeping. But more and more you start sleeping, and then then more and more you will start thinking about the Lord also. What will happen? So the sleep also will automatically get reduced. However, your body also will get fine-tuned to it. It means your body parts also will act according to your mind and your intelligence. Then automatically, whether it is required for 6 hours or 2 hours, because all that you need is just to start thinking about Krishna, and then because body is also part and parcel of the large energy only. So automatically it will get tuned to. That is why great advanced devotees, even though they have not slept for more than 6 hours, or it is only 2 hours or 1 hour, it is actually tuned. It is actually fine-tuned for them to recover. That's all.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So now initially it will be 6 hours, but more and more you start practicing, you can reduce it. So your goal is to reduce only. Okay. So how to reduce is always thinking about Krishna. Whatever that curiosity and anxiety. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not sleep for many days continuously. He will be continuously crying of Krishna's pastimes. The same way Haridas Thakur also, same way Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami and all, they'll be always thinking of Krishna that they will never get sleep at all. So to achieve that stage, we have to follow this regulative principles. So these are all regulative principles.
Okay. And Arjuna also, he conquered his sleep.
Correct. Yeah,
Hare
called as Gudakesha.
Krishna.
Right? So Gudakesha means he's able to control. Whenever he wants to sleep, he will sleep. Otherwise, he will not sleep at all. For a number of days continuously, also he will be able to control his sleep.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
The message is we have to regulate our habits. That's all. Too much eating, we know what will happen. Too much sleep also, we will know what will happen. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow, next class, we will talk about how to control the mind portion, and then what Krishna talks about Abhyasam and Vairagyam. This is a very important section. So next class we will see about this mind control. This one. Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Hare
pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.